Hello everyone, welcome to the final day of the elimination round in the FIDE Grand Prix 2022 Berlin, Germany. Nakamura earns his spot in the candidates, along with Richard Rapport. That's about it. I don't want to say goodbye to Wesley, but Nakamura is really deserving of his spot. Yeah. He fought for it. Yeah. It was Arroyan who was leading in the first half, and Nakamura bounced back in the second half with three important fighting games, especially this last game against Andrei Isipenko. All right, let's check out Nakamura's game. He was black. Isipenko went for e4. Isipenko's playing Bradley in this tournament. Lost yesterday to Levon, but unfortunately for Levon also, yeah, he lost his last round game against Operin, and it's a tough pill to swallow for Levon after playing a brilliant game yesterday against Andre. But that is life. Yes, it is what it is. Whatever happens, happens. Okay, let's check it out. E4, E5, bishop C4. Isipenko went for the bishop's opening. Knight into F6, D3. Knight C6, Knight C3. Knight A5. If you play normal, let's say bishop C5 here, I have a feeling that Isipenko will go for F4 here. The Vienna, yeah. With this Knight C3, Bishop C4, it's going to show you that White, after delaying the Knight on G1 and delaying Knight F3, White is planning to go for F4. So Nakamura went for Knight A5. Of course, the principled move. Without A3, you take away that light square bishop. Yep. Queen into F3, Knight takes E4. Right. Bishop pair for black. Although White has this Rook D1 later on to control that D file. It's not a bad double pawn. It's a grip on the D5 square. Potentially some C5 with Rook D1 later in the game. Knight G2, bishop into E6, B3, bishop E7, castles, castles, A4, Nakamura went for knight to D7. He's probably going for F5 here, A5, A6. I'm not too sure about A5, but because that one becomes a target later in the game. But if you look at knight G3, for example, Nakamura's knight D7 was also to open the line or clearing the line for the exchange of the bishop, because that is a strong dark squared bishop that could help White's attack on the king. So A5, A6, knight G3, bishop G5. Okay, that was one of the main ideas with knight D7. If White prevents F5, then he has bishop G5. Knight into F5 takes on C1. Okay, takes C1, G6. All right. Without that dark square bishop, no bishop H6 for White. Yep. Knight into E3. Okay, C6, not allowing knight D5. Yep. Rook A1, protecting that pawn on A5. C6 also clears the way for the queen to attack pawn on A5. Queen to E7, repositioning the queen with queen D1, Rook A8, queen E2, knight into F6, F4. White don't want to wait. If he continues to, let's say, play positional with f3, then black has knight h5 and knight f4, right? And then later on f5, and that gives black a comfortable game here. White had to play f4, or else black would control that square with knight h5 and knight f4. Takes on f4, rook takes f4, knight h5, rook f3, all right? Queen into g5, rook af1. Queen takes a5, g4, nice move. Knight g7, okay, knight g5, strong move by white. Nakamura went for queen e5. Let's take a look at capture here. G takes f5. Okay, there are two ways to capture here for white. G takes or E takes. If E takes f5, I believe Nakamura is ready for bishop takes f5 here. G takes f5 and then f6. If king h1, just rook f7, rook g3, rook d7. And black should hold. Yeah. This is a target on f5, so the rook on f1 cannot really go rook g1. Yeah. He has to keep an eye on this pawn. Alright, if g takes f5, black will just move back to d7 because queen h6, there's f6. And if you go f6 first, the knight goes to h5. There's no rook g3. Right? There's no rook g3. And it should be winning for black. Because if you go king h1, there's king h8. The knight defends the important g7 square. Because if you play queen h6, there's rook g8. So g takes f5, bishop d7. Queen h6, just f6 right here. You go rook h3, rook f7, the king can escape. Yep. Although white can continue with, let's say, king h1. I'm not sure here, but black can probably, or maybe offer that piece back, save the king. He takes f5 and open file, rook e8. Black should be alright, I guess, also here. Okay, let's continue with what happened in the game. Nakamura went for queen e5, knight h6, king h8. Beautiful knight e5 here for white, yeah. g5 was played by Naka. Although Naka could have captured here, takes on d5, sacrifice the bishop. So he takes d5 and f5. Yeah. To ease that pressure and release that pressure on the f7 square. Rook e1. Okay, the queen cannot go back to f6 here, but there's queen b2. Yeah. Because if you go back to f6, then there's g5, the tempo on the queen. Well, black has queen b2. I don't know, maybe Nakamura was worried about rook e7 here. The counterplay would be rook c8, yeah. Okay, if you want to draw, there's knight f7, knight h6. Yeah. Okay, but Naka went for g5. Actually, this is now winning for white. Except for this move, queen f2. Nakamura is very resourceful with this only move to defend f5. Sepenko might have been, very relaxed with a position where he had this strong attack on f7 with the knight and the three major pieces. He might have lost his concentration here. The simple c3, right? The waiting move maybe is the winning move here because black is in zugzwang here, right? I don't find any useful moves for black. Okay, let's say for example, let's take a look at b5. Because if you take the knight, the problem with taking the knight is you take d5, yeah. This bishop cannot move. And if you go for f5, if you want to save it, d takes e6. There's a pin on the rook. There's knight f7, so you have to capture e6. And then queen takes on g5, because you played the pawn on g5, so it's target. So that is not possible to take the knights. So I only find that b5 is the only useful move maybe for black, but the knight jumps to f6. Yeah. If you go, let's say knight e8, white can go for knight takes h7 here. King takes an h7, there's rook h3, if you go king g7 and rook f5, yeah. This queen g5, right? Takes on f5, knight takes f5, and then queen g5. What to do, Yanni? It's either mate or you lose material. So c3, yes? Just a waiting move. Tempo. Okay, waiting for black to make a useful move, but I don't find any. You go knight e8. Let's say you want to stop knight f6. Who can sacrifice right here? Because the knight on e8 blocks the coordination of the two rooks. So it's still not passable here. Takes and takes. Nothing. There's nothing for black here. Nakamura again. Escape. Nakamura is an escape artist. Queen f2. Okay. It's easy to miss f5, of course. SM Bencom never thought of this, I guess, because if you look at f5, two pawns are attacking it, the knight, and there's three pieces, yeah. But it's blocking the f file after capturing. Now Nakamura goes to bishop takes d5. With that pawn on f5, this becomes useless. Yeah, the three pieces on the f file now is useless. Yeah? It's useless because the pawn on f5 is blocking the f file. His own pawn blocking the file. And now Nakamura activates his knight on h5. Rook to e1, just queen g7, attacking the knight on h6. Knight f4. A sudden turnaround, queen d7, typical of Naka's games here. He's just a natural finder of this, tactical defense or whatsoever. He's just so resourceful. Rook takes f4, takes, queen takes f4. White is relying on the f6 pawn. Nakamura challenges the file. And now f7, queen into g6. Now h5, f6 falls. f6, once the pawn on f6 falls, everything falls. Okay, rook takes f6, game over. And with that win, coupled by Levon's loss to Oparin, Nakamura qualifies to the candidates in June. The other spot will be taken, I believe, by Ding Liren. Yep. As FIDE has announced that the top rated player will be given that wild card entry. Yep. It's no one else than Ding. Yep. Who else? Okay, China will be, starting its closed tournament for Ding, 12 games soon. 2 spots here in the Grand Prix, Rapport and Nakamura. It's just unfortunate for Levon and Wesley as well here. But it happens, okay. Maybe better luck next time for the rest of the gang. This time, let's just congratulate Nakamura for his brilliant comeback. After a bad first half, well, he made it up with a strong finish in the second half. And that's what matters. It's how you end, yeah? It's not how you start. Okay, that was it. I hope you liked our presentation for today. We will continue still our coverage is not yet over. Okay, they will still be fighting for prizes, but not the spots. Okay, we'll be continuing to to cover the FIDE Grand Prix 2022 in Berlin, semifinals and the finals. I will continue to give you fun and exciting videos in the days to come. Thank you for supporting our channel, Charles Max Chess and Charles Max Entertainment, on our Facebook and YouTube channels. This is Coach Oliver. Stay safe, everyone. Bye bye.